Oop.
Anyone
What do
who's
you
just
think?
joining us, please feel free to reach out and I will recap the conversation we've had up to this point. No, I completely agree with you. I think, I think I brought this up at the last meeting. There is a growing contingent, even just in Westover alone, who is ready to come forward and start talking about the fact that there is a big disparity in, the requirements for, say, an inn or a lodge or a bed and breakfast than there is for Airbnbs. Whether it's registration fees or those inspections we're talking about, or any of those things. I mean, they're ready to come forward and start asking the question about why nothing is being done, or, why the field doesn't seem so level there. So that is 100%, a great question to be asking. I know that at the state level, right, we're not only not registering these Airbnbs as businesses with the state, but we are also they are not requiring those inspections or, making sure that things are up to code the same way that an inn or lodge or Airbnb or bed and breakfast can be charged.
So my point is that if we do this, I think that piece has to come with it too. And I think that means there's money going out on the back end of whatever fees we do collect.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, even then, say we had to hire an outside firm to take care of that, or however we decided to deal with that. Even if that cost us $75,000 a year, that still gives us 100,000 plus a year that can be used to start some programs. Right now, we have 0 housing programs.
What kind of money? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, finish, Eric.
No, I was just saying we have a very expensive and at this point a couple of years old housing plan, but we don't have any programs to go with it. We've to this point, because of lack of funds and because of how we're going to fund programs, we haven't really been able to establish anything to address the issues that are in that housing plan. And I don't think that this is, again, I'm not bringing this up as the be all end all. I'm not saying this is exactly how we solve all of our problems. I'm trying to start wading into this pool to say, well, how did you guys fix your housing problem? Well, we started by doing this and it turned into this and it turned into this. There is a snowball effect once things do start happening, that we could, potentially take advantage of. So again, I don't know that the money coming from, a registration system with Airbnbs is the be all end all. It's just an idea that I had, instead of that coming from the 1%, which we already allocate to so many other programs. Like, let's think about how we can do this. And at the same time, also be leveling the playing field for the people who are following the rules with their registered businesses.
On another slight track, right now, I don't think any 1% money can be used specifically for housing, but maybe that's something both Dover and Wilmington could think about.
well, it's for economic development, and the fact that there's no workforce housing impedes economic development. So I think that is absolutely something we could put 1% money into. I absolutely believe that. I don't think that it was ever, what is economic development?
There you go.
It's a pretty broad range of things.
So perhaps it could, maybe that's something, I mean, I don't know how much money Eric and Vicki and Gretchen you would think might be approachable with 1% between Wilmington and Dover, but I wonder if that's something in combination maybe with a fee for these B&B and VRBO rentals.
So the issue with a 1% option tax, funding is that, because Dover has Mount Snow, we end up getting a lot more 1% funding than Wilmington does. So they're a little more selective about the things that they want to use that 1% for. You know, they have their revolving loan fund, they have their own event fund. You know, so for us to expect Wilmington to hop on board with whatever we decide we want to throw at it from 1%, like that's a bigger, way bigger conversation than, you know, we're going to have right now. I mean, that involves both of the select boards and, you know, us trying to estimate, you know, if and when our 1% is even going to get back to what it was normally coming in at to begin with. Gretchen, are you still down?
You know what? I haven't looked at that in a bit. But you know, from what I saw in the first quarter of this year was that it was up compared to the year before.
Right.
So it'd be interesting to know what's the scoop with the rest of the year. So I mean, there could be definitely some funding, but you know, I'm not sure. You know, I think that we would have to go in at the same amount of money.
Yeah.
So we would have to kind of figure that out. But the other thing, you know, like we probably should be like thinking that not all Airbnbs are going to end up staying Airbnbs. Like when they see this and there's a $250 charge, I bet a lot of them are going to go away, especially like for Chimney Hill. There's a lot of them there. And I think what they'll do is they'll go back to the rental program that is at the Chimney Hill Owners Association and go through that way.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
And
we're
in no
not probably
way-
going to capture everyone.
No, and I totally understand that, right? But like, in no way am I anti-Airbnb. I think without, you know, that type of business here in the Valley, we don't have half of our visitorship that we normally, you know, that's the way people are traveling these days. And I totally get that, right? So it is 100% a double-edged sword. I do understand that people, you know, will go back to that rental program, but correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, even the rental program has fees that they charge to those
Commission.
homeowners, right? So you're paying fees one way or the other.
Right. But it's probably easier to manage because it's, you know, like,
They take care
you
of
know,
it.
right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I totally agree with that. Like, I think, you know, definitely I'm hearing from my inn owners that, you know, it's really taking away from them. So.
And I'm not, like I said, I'm not like coming after these people by any means. I just think, you know, it would be nice to kind of level that playing field a little bit so that when our inn owners did come and are looking for accountability on, you know, why they're held to a different standard than everybody else. I mean, I know that comes from the state, right? I get that piece of it. But it would be nice to have an answer for them to say, you know, hey, the towns are stepping in to help on your behalf to say, you know, let's make this level across the board for everyone. You know, obviously this, you know, I think we're probably getting close to the end of our time here on this particular conversation, but I wanted to get that information out to you guys so we can kind of look at, you know, what the housing trust really meant and what it was that, you know, the possibilities were for a housing trust. You know, take a look through it. It's worth continuing a conversation. I think, you know, we sit here and we talk about all the things we want to do, but then we say, how are we going to pay for them? So I think the more we talk about ideas like this or anything else that could potentially be bringing some funding in to help with the housing crisis, you know, we can sit and wish for our magic wand to fix the housing crisis as much as we want. But until I think we find some dollars, whether they be state or federal or even local, to start throwing at this problem, we're going to be having the same conversations for a while.
And I think we need to bring it at some point to the select boards and say, get their take on everything. And, you know, we have really not shared a lot of what we do in these meetings with the select boards. So I think that would be an important piece to try to gain some buy-in for both doing a registration program and potentially getting a annual stipend from 1% money from each town. So I think that those are things when we get, we're probably getting fairly close where we have to start discussing some of these things, and just because it takes sometimes time to warm people up to this, you know.
So suggestion on having approaching, who wants to do it? I think it's a great idea.
Well, I don't think we're quite ready. I think we need to have more of our own plan figured out, and then bring it forward and say, you know, this has been something we struggled with, and our group has worked hard to try to put something in front of you, and we can't wait any longer, and this is where we're at, and we need to do something. So I think that, but it's going to take some strategizing and how we do that. But I think we have to, in any of this, we're probably going to need buy-in from them anyway. So whether it's definitely the registration program, definitely anyone, you know, I mean, you can bring it up at budget time, Eric, you know, start just, it's a quiet conversation with 5 select board members.
Mhm.
It's my guess that the land trusts that are in Bennington and Brattleboro, you know, they haven't really worked in the valley. When Butterfield Commons was started, that was from somebody who was in the valley, who donated the land and worked incredibly hard to get that built. That did not come from Bennington coming over and doing something. So, and Brattleboro obviously hasn't been in the valley in a long time. So my guess is the idea of establishing a land trust makes a lot of sense. I don't know, you know, if it makes any sense to approach Bennington or Brattleboro again, because I kind of feel like maybe Vicki has said, you know, they'd be just as happy if they didn't have to think about trying to do something here. You know, it's kind of far away from their center, and they've got enough going on, enough needs in their area. So I guess we need to move forward. We need to move.
And just for clarification, it's not land trust, it's a housing trust fund.
Excuse me, my mistake.
And how Edie Moss did that for Butterfield, she approached, at that time it was Wyndham Housing Trust. And she approached them and said, I'm willing to donate this land. Will you build something on it? And from there, you know, the Housing Trust actually did it. But they were adamant that the land, which is the land Butterfield's on, which is across the road from Corinthia, was a place this was going to be. And there was some pushback on that because of the location. But I was on the school board at that time, and I just remember it was because of her donation, anything got going.
And it was her continual pushing to deal with all the challenges that made it happen. And I think that was, she really, you know, from her work in healthcare and community organizing, she was, without her as an organizing force, advocate, it wouldn't have happened.
Again, I don't think that this is obviously not a problem we're going to solve in the 15 minutes that I put on the agenda for it today. It's just, we got to start the conversation and continue the conversation to get it to really go anywhere down the road. So this is a good start to the conversation, I think.
So I think maybe the next meeting, we should try to start framing out, you know, how to approach the select boards. And, you know, and everybody will have the trust fund information. Hopefully everybody will have it by then. And then we'll keep moving.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay, let's hop into the shared housing classes update. So, Sue, do you mind giving the group the update that you had given me the other day in terms of the people who had originally signed up?
Well, I think I did it for the last meeting. Nothing has changed. I don't know if Eric, so I guess briefly, I'll just say we had 4 people respond to the ad as being interested. Unfortunately, there was a lot of contact attempted through email, through personal phone calls. One person who has moved out of the area actually, and had a social services healthcare interest, hasn't been well herself, and she did not sign up for it. Says she will to take the course, but she no longer lives in the area anyway. The second person, again, was a very social services minded person, older, just seemed to be more interested in keeping informed on what was going on in the area, but didn't want help signing up and said she wasn't going to do it. So I don't know why she responded in the first place. That was the second. The third and the fourth, I had no ability to contact them. I had a phone number, I had an email, and zero response to my reaching out. So it was pretty discouraging. I know Eric and Gretchen had talked about approaching the pastors, priests in the area, other people who are involved in the community, and trying to reach out to seniors or other people who might be interested. And my thought is we advertised that pretty well, had that fabulous article in the Valley News. People who would do it would respond. So I'm a little discouraged that and worried that, you know, priests and pastors can reach out all they want, but if people have to be willing to take the next step themselves. So I don't know if you've done any reaching out to the pastors or other people active in the community, or or whether you've tried to contact these people yourself. Anna Marie Poulard with Sharing Housing, you know, is also available, and I've made that known to them through emails that they can contact her. And apparently she hasn't gotten any contact. She volunteered to really help people through the registration process. So I'm not sure what else you can do.
Yeah, so
at the
thank
last
you,
meeting-
Sue. Whoop. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Eric.
I was just saying, thank you, Sue, for the update on that for us again. And I guess the reason I wanted to bring this up is because, you know, we ran the ad in the D-Val News. I have not personally reached out to, you know, Jeremy, or I don't know the pastor at the Eastover Church, to see if they would be interested in helping us out with that. Gretchen, have you had an opportunity to speak to any of your local pastors, or no?
No, I mean, I really think that it comes down to personal one-on-one touch of picking up the phone, calling some people that you think might be interested. You know, like I'm thinking Sue Spengler, who was on this committee, she was very excited about something like this. So, you know, picking up the phone and calling Sue and saying, hey, Sue, would you be interested in this? Did you see that we have this available? And you don't have to pay for the course, but you can, you know, and we're going to start a group after so that, you know, we have that we're supporting you if you do decide to go forward. You know, like there's people within our community, and I feel like we need to brainstorm those ideas and get another person that's able, you know, like get a couple people that are able to pick up the phone and make these personal contacts.
And I think with that also, say Sue said, no, I'm not interested. We need to find out why. What are the roadblocks, and try to figure that out as well. I think that that's really important information. Because a lot of these people would be better off with more income in their house, maybe somebody to do their chores that they find very hard in the wintertime in particular. And I think that it's hard to, you know, give up some privacy or some control. I get it, but it could end up as, I mean, every time I see Elizabeth, who spoke to us about it, she says it's the greatest thing that's happened to them. And she's got great, it's fantastic. Her shared housing experience has changed their lives. So it's for all of them. It's great. So I think we have to really take a deep dive into why people would not want to do this.
I think that's a very good point, Vicki. And kind of bleeding over into the next item on the agenda is, like let's maybe get this up on the housing Facebook group again, just to get it up there. If you follow that page and see that post come up, maybe share it from your personal page as well. Let's try to pull some people into that housing Facebook and let them know that it's there. And then, I don't have a problem reaching out to Jeremy or the pastor over in Eastover. I do think that's a decent place to start. And if you have,
His name's Bob McIntyre.
Okay.
Yeah, Robert McIntyre.
Okay. If you do have, to Gretchen's point, if you do have any specific ideas on people who would be interested, feel free to reach out to them yourself, or, reach out to Gretchen and I with their contact information, and we can kind of reach out and to them as well and just let them know that this kind of opportunity is available. I mean, I don't have the contacts in that age bracket, I guess, in the town of Dover to know right off the top of my head, like, oh, I should be calling so-and-so or so-and-so. So if you have any ideas of people you think should be directly contacted for that, let myself know or Gretchen know, and we can be making those contacts as well. Okay. So the housing Facebook page. I would like to try to find if we can get in touch with a landlord or two who currently have listings and get those up on the Facebook page. And again, maybe share those once they're up. I want to set the precedent that page is available for that type of posting, because it's something we talked about at the last meeting. It's just, we have to have the first one or two to let people know that, like, hey, that's something you can be doing through this Facebook page. I will also be sharing from that page the information on the multi-family home buyer course that's upcoming. And then, like I had just said, we'll get that information out about the shared housing courses as well. So any of that you see come through, if you're up for it, share it from your personal page as well once it comes through from the housing page, and let's just try to draw some attention there so that people know to look there for those types of things.
If we put a like in there, does that help to get it shared, or we have to share it?
Sometimes, yeah, I mean, I think the like will help. Gretchen, you're muted.
Yeah, but the sharing is the key piece.
Okay. The other thought I had is human resources at Mount Snow. If they could start to let people know once we've got something up there, or also let their potential employees know that that's going to be a source for them to look, and also encourage anybody that calls and says, I have a place available to human resources, to let them know to go to that website, go to Facebook also, the housing Facebook site, and post there.
I don't think so. Heidi just brought up the point. I don't believe there's actually an HR department at Mount Snow.
Oh, that's right. They're not there anymore.
It's all corporate, right, Dan?
Yeah. So really the HR representatives are each manager, and directors assist each manager with that. So I can certainly spread the word on getting that website out, as far as the Facebook and the other website you were referencing. We can certainly share that out with all the directors and managers that are hiring people that are coming here. So I think it's a great idea.
Do any homeowners contact anybody at Mount Snow anymore then, that they have housing available, or how do they do that?
That's a fair question. I don't know the answer to the question.
I know years ago, when I had a room available, I would call Mount Snow Human Resources and tell them. And then people would contact me, and once it was booked, I'd call them back and say the room's been taken. So if there is something through HR, even if it's out in Vail, that does that, that would be good to know.
Well, Tracy indicated last week by town that they're still looking for rooms.
Mhm.
They had 230 and they need like 300, so Mount Snow is still looking for rooms.
That is factual.
Okay. Like I said, if you happen to know of anyone who has a room available, I actually just saw a sign. Gretchen, do you know who owns the apartment building across from Family Dollar?
Yeah, that's Ed Earhart.
Okay, because there was an apartment for rent sign hanging on that building, so maybe we can convince him to be one of our guinea pigs.
Yeah.
And just put it up there. Just an idea. And like I said, if you ever are, I know in all of our free time, we all just think about housing constantly. So if you happen to think of anything that you think should be posted from that Facebook page, like, please just let Gretchen and I know. I just want to, again, we don't need to inundate people with things. I just want to make it active and at least start posting some things there so that people know to look there for information. Because when
maybe Vicky could contact the person who has a room for rent that advertised in this week's paper. If it's still available.
I can do that. That's
And Jerry Osler just added his rooms this week too. So the Red Mill has rooms.
there you go.
Oh,
seasonal.
fabulous.
Yeah.
Oh, he's going to rent for some of those rooms for seasonal?
Long or short term. He's been doing that for about a year or so.
Oh, well, that could be a
And then
great.
he's had some summer people there all summer, maybe over a year, some of them. So, yeah.
So he may be doing that through VRBO or.
No, he's doing it. He's doing it himself.
Okay. Yeah, but there's a great one to put on the Facebook site.
Mhm. Definitely. Okay, we're gonna move on. I'm gonna try to make this as brief as possible in terms of VHCB. Let's see, desktop one. Where is it? Oh, this one. Maybe. Share. Okay, I guess I can't share right now, but that's okay. So I will just show you in the Zoom. I reached out to Jenny twice and didn't hear anything back. Then I got an email from Emily, who I had talked about earlier, who is the associate housing director, who was happy to provide me the information that we were looking for on our letter of interest for the VHCB technical assistant grant. Okay, so if you can see this here in black, that's literally the extent of what they're looking for in our letter of interest. Oh yeah, it is in, but still, you get the point here. The black in the middle is literally what they would be looking for.
Shannon's rolling on that one.
That's not award winning.
It's not a word.
No.
Not even single time? Okay, fine.
Oh.
My settings are not allowing me to share via Zoom, so I do apologize. But you can see the shortness of the letter once we finally do draft it, okay? I had a follow-up phone call conversation with her, and I asked her to put it into an email so that I could share it with you guys, and I didn't miss anything. So I just will quickly go through what she had to say. It said, in order for VHCB to make an award for the technical assistance grant, we will need a clear understanding of the proposal for the work that the grant will be funding. It sounds like your team is beginning conversations with Connie Snow for this role. Once you have determined the purpose, scope of her work and negotiated the cost of the consultant, please share that information with us. At that point, we'll be able to move ahead with reviewing the TA grant per the simple process I outlined below. Once the award is made, VHCB will fund for costs incurred based on invoices received. So what we need to do at this point is to contact Connie Snow and say, okay, here's our housing plan. What do you recommend for us? And what does $3,500 get us from you in terms of assistance with any of these steps. Once we've outlined the scope of work and the pay scale for Connie, then we can move forward with this super short letter that I tried to show you all. And we can get the grant. So that being said, Gretchen, do you have a relationship with Connie at all?
I do.
Okay. Do you have any interest in contacting her to, I'd be happy to forward you the email from Emily so that you can kind of see what kind of information it is they're looking for, and just at least start having the conversation with Connie and see if it's something she would even be interested in with us.
Yes, I can do that.
Okay. Awesome. I will go ahead and forward you that email from Emily so that you know
Okay.
exactly what it is that we're looking for. And if you have any other questions, reach out to me or Emily. We can get through that. And then once we have that outline with Connie, I have no problem obviously writing the couple of paragraphs and the bullet points. That's not a big deal at all. But again, small steps, right? $3,500 consultant grant is still better than $0 and no consultant. So let's take these small steps where we can. We have
And
10
I
minutes.
think it gets us on the board.
What's that?
I think it gets us on the board. I think
Right.
it gets us noticed actually at
Exactly.
VHCB.
Yep, I 100% agree. If our notes to them inquiring where our money is going don't get their attention, maybe this will. Who knows? But
Right.
it kind of is what it is at this point. So, did everybody have a chance to look at the list of questions for the employer housing questionnaire that we discussed at the last meeting? Dan, I don't know that. No, maybe you were on the email, but I don't know.
I looked at a lot of the other things. I did not look at that employer questionnaire.
No, I totally get it. It's totally fine. What I want to do with this is we don't even need to finalize this today, right? What I wanted to do was get this list of questions in front of you guys, because this is what Willie and members of her team, I think at the club, had kind of been thinking of. What I'd like to do now is get some input from you guys as well as to, are we changing it? Like, are these questions, are we happy with these? Do we want to add some more? What other types of information do you think it is that we're looking for? So go ahead. If you haven't had an opportunity to read through these, go ahead and do so before the next meeting, and then shoot some recommendations to me, and I can update this list so that we can be reviewing it and finalizing it at the next meeting, and then, kind of start pushing that out to the employers. Does that make sense to everybody, or do we want to try to go faster than that?
Yeah, I looked it over. I had one comment. I could email it to you.
That would be great.
I don't know if, how other people feel. I'd almost like to see it happen sooner than later. So, can we just maybe email our thoughts to you and then you refine it?
Yep.
Yeah, I think we can combine some of these questions.
Yep.
Possibly. And it's very international centric. It looks like it's a survey for Mount Snow and the Hermitage. And I think that we need to make it and those are the lead questions, I think, seasonal workers. I think we need to make sure that we're leading with a really, a question that really draws the employer in and goes, oh yeah, I do need to fill this survey out because we're having issues with this. So maybe the first question is, like something like, are any of your employees having difficulty finding housing that is in the Deerfield Valley?
Yep.
I mean, like, as simple as that.
Yep.
And it's a yes or no. And then maybe the next question could be like, and what's the percentage or how many of your employees are having that issue?
Right.
So
I think we should break out summer and winter, because there are people who need summer help. And it's a different group of people, I think, necessarily, that fill those jobs. Some of them are college kids, but some of them aren't. So I'd like to see how many seasonal summer employees you might hire, summer, spring, summer, fall, or whatever, and then just get the winter ones in as well in a separate line.
Perfect. So like I said, let's, any ideas that you have, even if they're just quick blips, whatever, just shoot that to me in an email and I will get this list updated. I just wanted to make sure that we kind of had a brief conversation about it here. And I'll get the list updated and then hopefully we can finalize at the next meeting to get it. Obviously, it'll look a lot different than this too. We'll get into, you know, a Google survey or something along those lines. It'll be much prettier than this, but you know.
Could I just ask one question? The second to last question, I'm not sure if I understand it. Does the seasons staff that seek
I think
housing get paid? Does,
the typo.
Yeah.
what's
And
it?
mover needs to be spelled correctly.
So, I'm
can say-
sorry.
It
Is
should,
it
does the
how-
seasonal staff that seeks housing get paid bi-weekly or weekly?
Oh, okay, seasonal, okay. Gotcha. So it's almost just, how is your staff paid? It doesn't really matter what season they are.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, like I said, any suggestions, kick those to me in an email and I will get everything compiled. I know Willie's not here, but I do appreciate the work that she put in to get some questions together for us to look at, and we will just build on it from here and get ourselves a comprehensive little survey to send out there to people, okay? Is there anything else that we need to cover today? Perfect. So our next meeting will be Wednesday.
Eight.
Wednesday, December 8th. Do we still want to do the in-person thing, or can we kind of focus on Zoom here for a minute? It's just
This seems to be working.
yeah, it's just like it's a
I
trip for
attended-
me to Wilmington, you know, when
Last week when I was there, 2 weeks ago, when I said that wasn't as good an experience as just doing it on Zoom. And also, you know, it gets hectic, and since the only one there with you is Heidi today,
Mhm.
right?
Yep.
So, I mean, we're obviously, and, you know, make sure you go to Wilmington so that you and Heidi or one other person can have a meeting, which is lovely, but I think the communication is better on Zoom.
I agree. And I think,
agree.
you know, with the COVID numbers creeping kind of the way they are, you know, we're working through boosters and all of that stuff. Like, we're not, you know, it's not like Bytown or select board meeting where we have to have this in-person portion in order to meet public meeting laws and things like that. And it will be great when we can finally all be in the same room together safely and schedule wise and things like that. But I think, you know, this is like the second meeting again, where it's kind of me and one other person here. So I think if we can eliminate the in-person aspect for right now, I would be for it as long as you guys are okay with it. So thank you for that. And we'll just continue on Zoom. If anybody does need that in-person connection, you can join Shannon and I in the Dover office for the meetings. Totally okay with that. So beyond that, any items you have for the agenda, try to have to me that first week of November there, for the 8th, you know, somewhere around the end of December rather. So somewhere around the end of November, beginning of December, just shoot me what you would like to see on the agenda and I will get that on the agenda for the December 8th meeting. Okay.
Great.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Have a great day.
Bye.